Hey people, just wanted to drop a little video on some sanding tips for sanding this Solaries that I use for my finish coats. You've seen on one of my other videos, one of my last videos I posted, I think it's 5 or 6 in this series, you could see where I had taped off the edges, the cavities of the guitar before I put my final coat on, because what happens, I put 2 coats on before I do any sanding. Because I do a lot of shaping with this stuff. I mean, it goes on thick. I like a nice thick coat on it. Depends on what you're doing too. Just so happens the few guitars, I put it on 4 guitars already, and the 4 guitars I put it on, I thought it needed a nice thick coat. You can put this stuff on real thin. There's a guy on YouTube, I forget his name. He applies it with a straight edge. So he's probably putting 10, 15 coats on. I mean, he literally pours it on and just takes a straight edge and scrapes it right off. So that's a pretty wild way to do it too. But anyway, where you see me tape up the cavities. So on my 3rd coat the other day, I taped up the cavities because what happens is you get a rounding effect. I want to switch the... What happens here, you'll get a rounding effect when your tape is up, you know, when it comes up the edge, the material wants to follow the tape up as so, like that. So when you're sanding it, what you don't want to do is use the soft sanding, I don't know what you would call this, I don't know what it's called, but God, I should know the name of it, but I don't. It's just a tool that, or I don't even know if, I guess you would call it a tool that holds a sanding pad. It's got a little bit of a backing to it. Maybe I'll, in a later video, clarify what I'm using there probably, so you'll know. But anyway, I do not use this when I'm trying to sand the edges like this, because what will happen is, this is great for sanding big areas. Gosh, it's hard. Sorry about this video. It's great for sanding big areas like this, but when you're sanding trying to get this edge knocked off, there's quite a bit of sanding involved in this. So if you're using this, if you've noticed, I can squeeze this. This is soft, and what happens is you'll wind up putting pressure. Eventually, no matter what, you're going to wind up putting pressure in the nose of it. And what's going to happen is you're going to take off more material off the back edge, back here, and not realize what you're doing, and before you know it, you've gone too far with your sanding. So what I do, this just a little hint I wanted to throw in here, is I have a little piece of wood, and I don't know, this was like a, I don't know, like a, just a piece that you could get for a gosh, what would you call it, a little sample. Looks like it was a little sample of some flooring or something like that, but it's got a nice straight edge. I've got 2 pieces of this, and what I do is I use this to sand these edges, and the reason being is because I don't want that dip that you get. I want these edges as straight. Gosh, this video is horrible. I want these edges as straight as possible because I want to come back in and detail the inside of this. So you don't want them dipped down or nothing like that. You want them as straight as possible. And if you use a piece of wood that's got a nice, make sure you got, you know, check it, look down it, make sure you got flat edge, and just use a piece of wood and go at it slow, and you can attack it better without the dip. Because if you use the soft one, what will happen, like I said, you're holding it like this and you're scraping along while you're actually putting probably more tension in the back or more tension in the front. Reverse of what I just said. You know, it's hard to hold it exactly level, and if you don't watch it, you'll wind up dipping it, and it'll wind up taking off more material than you want to. Anyway, that's my tip for the day. Oh, by the way, this is Ruby's partscaster. I'm in the middle of sanding right now. This is the final coat on it. I've sanded this side. There you go. That's just the first. And if you're wondering, I've actually went at this one. I've never done this before. Usually I'll go at it with a 400 grit. Just starting with a 400 grit. But there was a lot of material on here. It's pretty thick. And for some reason on my last pour, when I took it outside, We have some crazy temperatures around here. I don't think it was a temperature thing. I had let it sit. I usually let it sit for about 10 minutes indoors before I carry it outdoors to cure, because it helps alleviate bubbles, lets the bubbles come out of the product, and it'll level out. You want to do it on a nice level surface, because this material will level itself out over a period of time. So what happened was, when I got ready to carry it outside, I carried it outside to put it on my normal table. Well, my normal table was sitting in the shade by that point, and so I had to set it on another table that's near there real quick and move my table into the sun, my drying table. Well, apparently when I set it on the other table, it was not level, and that is why you see this. This is why I was about to tell you a while ago, normally I use a 400 grit on my vinyl to start with, but I couldn't, because for some reason it, like, I don't know, it all looked like it sloshed to one side or something while I was setting up the other table, and there was nothing I could do about it because it had started setting up. So I'm attacking this with a 230 or a 220 grit right now, and it's deep enough that I can get away with that. But if I was trying to get these edges with this here, I would not get away with it, because how do I know that? This actually has a fourth coat on one side, because that's how I attacked it in the beginning, was with this, and that caused me to deep dive more than I wanted to, so I had to go back and put another coat in. That's why I went to the piece of wood little sample thing there. Okay guys, anyway, it was supposed to be a quick tip, but it's turned into a 7-minute tip. Alright, like, subscribe, teach a kid to play guitar. Have a good one.